Welcome to the Garage Orlov Show, episode 473. It's Thursday, October something, 2021. I'm here with Forrest Jackson, a noted pulp collector and authority, and we just did a live stream showing all these pulps, but I thought I'd do one with my phone where I could get really close in detail of all these great covers. So we'll be telling a few stories while we look at some of these fantastic covers close up. So
we're just
join us.
Kind of do them a little bit randomly, but here we go with the Wolf Girl of Jocelyn.
Turn it this way.
Let's turn the whole
box. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if that's feasible.
Yeah, it is.
Like I see. So. Yeah.
All right.
You getting some light on that?
Oh yeah, it looks good.
Raise up some.
I'm trying to avoid my shadow. That light could be adjusted possibly. Oh yeah, I mean if you want to hold the light the whole time, but yeah, excellent. And then you were talking about the little writing on there was done by the person you bought this from?
Well, it was Clarence John Laughlin who owned that in 1938 and made notes. And then I bought them from Roger Nelson of Remember When Nostalgia Shop.
Yeah.
On Decatur Street, I think, in New Orleans. I was already interested in pulps and had bought a few, and in 1991 for Mardi Gras, walked past his shop, and I was like, oh man, I want to go in there. And so I was with friends, so I could only just see what was going on and knew that I had to be back.
So the Wolf Girl of Jocelyn, this is amazing. Yeah, the way you held the light is probably perfect for each one, if it's possible. What year is this one from? Oh, 1938.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start putting them back into the box here.
Yeah, makes sense.
As I move along.
It's like a reverse Christmas where Santa's putting all the gifts back in the box one by one.
So this is a real beauty. This Children of the Bat. And see, this is also a Yellow Peril cover because you have a dragon in the back. And
yeah, the eyes rolling back.
Yeah,
very Betty Boop looking eyes.
And then her braids are just covering up her pink parts.
Oh yeah. We weren't getting all this detail on StreamYard. This is this is like where Frazetta and all the artists, from the 50s and 60s and 70s, this is what they grew up with. This is amazing.
Let's flip to the back and see if it's a Rosicrucian ad or not. It's not.
Can you find the triplets? Okay.
What that's all about. Next month. So this is Foxing.
There were a lot of Rosicrucian ads.
Usually.
What do you know about Rosicrucians? We were watching these people on YouTube that were supposed to be Rosicrucians, and they were filming in their house, and they've got like a giant Egyptian god.
That's awesome.
It's like
I do know a lot about the Rosicrucians, but for historic purposes, the most interesting thing about it is that it started as a hoax in the early 17th century. And so it's kind of interesting how even as a hoax, it influenced Western civilization. You can see somebody, not me, filled in some loss with looks like some ballpoint pen ink there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, to try to sell it. So this is probably not from the Laughlin collection.
Unless he bought it that way.
No, he bought these off the newsstand.
So this is a wheel that will decide what torture she gets, possibly. Here's her signature.
Margaret Brundage. This is only one of two of the Brundage covers that had no story. Nobody's byline is on the cover, so this may or may not relate to a story inside.
So this was a quarter, huh? So that's pretty expensive.
Yeah, it was expensive. Weird Tales was a premium.
So most of the pulps were 10 cents, but Weird Tales was a quarter.
10 cents, 15 cents, 20 cents. Like Astounding started out at 20 cents.
Well, a quarter is like spending $10 in Depression money.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, comparatively. All right, here's a real beauty in terms of condition.
Yeah. Now, I'd vote for that guy for president. If there's someone like that ran for president, I'd vote for... Like when you go in the supermarket, they say, you need to wear a mask. That's the kind of mask.
Yeah.
I am wearing a mask. Meet the sinister and mysterious Dr. Satan, the world's weirdest criminal.
Yeah. So, like I said, the Weird Tales readers didn't so much like Dr. Satan because they were trying to copy what was going on in the Weird Menace pulps of the same time, and Weird Tales readers really mostly wanted supernatural content.
Okay. So this guy couldn't do anything with
Well, I don't really. I've read a little bit of Dr. Satan. It's been a long time ago, so I don't remember so much about it.
See, I can get good close-ups of the illustrations as you flip through with this walkie-talkie. Oh, is that a Rosicrucian ad?
Yes, it is. Yeah, Amoric. That's the most common. There's lots of different kinds of Rosicrucians, including ones that were in Dallas in the early 1970s called the Sangreal Foundation.
What does AMORC stand for?
Oh man, I really don't remember at this moment.
Well, if I ever can't use Gratu anymore, since it really is a name that Stan Lee created, maybe I should be AMORC Karloff. But then the Rosicrucians will be mad.
They'll come assassinate you.
Oh, are they that bad?
No.
Yeah, this is
It's like a more mystical Freemasonry. Rosicrucians.
She'd be like, if this was Dr. Satan's girlfriend, then I think maybe it would have been great. Maybe people would have accepted it. Can you imagine a movie made today where that's the girlfriend and and it was just like this?
It's in my dreams every night. But this one, Brundage copied this image out of a German fashion magazine.
Oh, so you can see the A-B comparison?
Yeah, you can find, if you find the original German magazine.
But people have it online where you can see it?
Yeah, or there's a book called The Alluring Art of Margaret Brundage that has all that information in it.
Well, I don't know why I don't own that book. It has all the covers, huh?
Yeah, and other stuff. So here is 1932 with a different lettering here.
Mm-hmm.
Not as cool.
No, I don't like it as much either.
But it's right before that. And so, like I said, this is kind of like a satanic scene, so I like that. And,
they're satanic, but they're still modest. They position her here just right to.
And then
her hands are so small. I think she could slip out of that, man.
Not when he nails her.
What? Oh, he's got a nail in his mouth.
Yeah.
Holy! The more I look at this, I don't notice all these details.
So this is an orange spine, a light orange here. It's more faded.
Okay, that's from Sun.
Maybe, yeah.
From being on a bookshelf and drapes open.
That is not from. I don't think that was from Laughlin. Nor this one. I think I probably got this next one on eBay, if I recall correctly. A goose flesh vampire story.
Hugh B. Cave. I wonder if that's his real name.
Yeah. He lived to be almost 100 years old. He had pseudonyms, but that was his real name.
It really was? I was being sarcastic.
No.
Damn. Look at that. At least the Apple Corporation did something good creating this phone. What?
That's the illustrator Simph.
I guess that's better than Simp.
Yeah.
Look at that. What is the deal with his nose?
It's a leaf-nosed bat.
Oh, is that a thing?
I think so. Yeah.
I thought all bats were cute.
Well, that one's cute.
That's fucked up.
All right, well, on to some more. Here is I think this is a Virgil Finlay cover. Mm-hmm. He was not as good in color as he was in black and white.
Okay.
Yeah, Finlay. So, while it's interesting, it's not as cool as these other covers.
It looks like my friend Meyer Greenblatt is about to take out Alfred Hitchcock and Joe Biden and maybe Olivia de Havilland there. If I was casting this movie, The Spawn of Dagon, is this a... Okay, so
Lovecraft is already dead, but he had been in correspondence with Henry Kuttner, and so they were epistolary friends, and so he kind of.
But Lovecraft left it open. He didn't mind people using all of his gods.
Yeah, he encouraged that. He had fun with it. And so here we are with Robert Bloch and Robert E. Howard, So it's really an all-star
So
lineup.
Robert Bloch must have been a little kid compared to everyone else.
He was a teenager.
Right. Okay. Because he was still around much later.
Yeah, like I said, I got to meet him in 1993, and he was really a gentleman. At least that he was nice to his fans. So here's a newsstand stamp.
Oh,
Let's see.
that's cool.
Yeah, I think that's from the newsstand, not from the individual. So it's less of a flaw.
Well, the newsstand, putting the exact date of the 3rd, that's very likely, the newsstand.
So this is Brundage, 1935, a little tamer. A little bit tamer.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, it's very, it's very phallic there.
There's nude bodies intertwined here, but it's not the focus. Let's flip it.
Hold on, let me get the. Oh yeah, the light. Holy smoke! There sure is. Holy shit. That reminds me of Richard Corbin, and they got the date. Like they were happy with that stamp, man. It was like a little kid had it. They probably had their grandson. Here, stamp these books.
Yeah,
he stamped it everywhere.
Yeah, maybe it's not the newsstand. Sometimes people would stamp things like that's the day that they received it.
I know, but I think some retailer, their kid went a little nuts with the stamp.
I want to find a New Orleans stamp on one of them to see if it has it. All right, but we're still going with weird tales.
You ever see a little star stamp? I know on comics the star was stamped by the Basic Changes when they were bought on a military base.
I'll have to keep an eye out for that. I'm not sure. Here's a real beauty.
Living Buddhas by Seabury Quinn. Yeah.
I guess, is that a stain here? I guess it is.
Oh.
A little bit. Let me flip this open. Yeah, it's a stain.
I want to know what that is, man. Strange and curious thrill tale of a living female Buddha. She doesn't seem to be happy.
She's menaced by the yellow peril.
I see.
She's a... There's more. Including this Margaret Brundage painting, which I don't think this original survives. I don't know what story it's for. Maybe for Seabury Quinn. It's a more benign sacrifice scene. And I rarely buy them if they have chipping on the spine. But this is one.
That's not bad.
This is
the cover's
probably
so great.
This is probably Laughlin. See any notes? Yeah, I think I saw some notes.
Oh yeah, it'd be cool to zoom in on some of his notes.
I gotta handle it.
What kind of things does he say?
It's really hard to read his handwriting.
Is it in cursive?
Yeah, and pencil.
And you bought it directly from Laughlin?
No, I bought it from Roger Nelson, who bought that estate.
Oh, he passed away.
So there it is. Surprisingly well written in parts. The characters almost come alive. Quite something handles the... But then, like I said, this is a Lovecraft story that Hazel Held got the credit for. So that's why, you know, if Laughlin was reading this and didn't know that, then he would think, oh wow, this is a great new writer we have here, Hazel Held.
He's almost as good as Lovecraft.
Yeah. Well, Hazel Held wrote, and Lovecraft wrote one of the best Cthulhu mythos stories. It's called Out of the Eons. It's kind of pulpy, but it's great.
What do you mean pulpy, but it's great? Is pulpy a bad thing?
No, pulpy, but pulp...
you mean kind of
quality of the writing
can
can sometimes be clunky.
Right.
And overstated.
Well, they're getting paid by the word, so it's better to...
So this is the one that, in the original painting, which Heritage Auctions handled, you can see her nipple there, but for the publication, they did something on the plates to gloss over that, to blur that out.
Hopefully they didn't alter the original.
They didn't.
No, because you said the painting exists.
Yeah. So let's see what's next. Just kind of whisk through these.
Look at the poster, like over there on the wall, and the girl on the poster there menaced by the snake, and you realize this poster from the 50s, early 60s, how much it was influenced by what we're looking at in the pulps from 20 years before. And look at this great one.
And I saw this original painting in Santa Monica, and it does have this little border on the original painting.
Yeah, wow.
Kind of a golden look, kind of bright for a weird fiction pulp.
Yeah. Wow, they last. The Moon Terror.
So this was, they published this in the 20s, and they published too many of them. Let's see what's in the Erie back here. An unfillable void. The passing of that outstanding author, Howard Phillips Lovecraft, leads a void which can never be filled. He was nothing less than a genius. Yeah, he died.
Okay, so this is a very historic page here. Let me zoom in. People can freeze frame their TVs and read it. Maybe a little more still. I'm not very professional at this, but you guys can freeze frame and read it. Everyone's going to complain about how jerky I am. This is really cool to see a eulogy for him in the actual magazine that made him famous, and then it's going to be kind of hard to get this.
Yeah.
But I'll get it.
Well, it's the same idea that, people
Death of a master.
People are upset.
Yeah, yeah. It's like when Jack Kirby died or something.
There, Hazel Held is writing. We just talked about her.
Oh. The Secret Museum of Mankind. I wonder what that was.
Probably more Rosicrucians.
Oh. So their basic premise is they have ancient knowledge that goes back to Lemuria or Atlantis or something.
It's a lot of fanciful thinking. But, they do some charitable things, I think. So.
That seemed like a really nice couple that was leading it. They were all
yeah, I got no problem with Rosicrucians.
They seem to be kind of halfway based in Christianity, too, in a way. Thrills, mystery, excitement.
And I love her spooked expression on her face.
He's got like a little pig nose.
He's missing part of his nose.
And you say he has women's shoes.
It looks like a slipper.
A what? A slipper? Yeah.
Yeah, like his shoe looks like a slipper.
Yeah, yeah.
But here, focus on her eyes.
Yeah, I'm just getting. So she's got fire in front of her.
And she may be on a coffin or something.
Yeah. You know who did a good job of being one of these girls is Fay Wray in the movies. I mean, she looked like she was right out of one of these covers.
I'm sure that they
were. No wonder people loved and still love that movie.
But people were probably, copying, using images from Hollywood to make the illustrations. Probably.
Yeah. What year was that one? So it could be
35,
okay, so it
$37.
Could be the opposite. Fay Wray inspired the cover rather than. Okay.
Yeah. So here's one, also probably owned by Laughlin.
Yeah, it's got his writing there, 1236, and I guess the check mark means I've read it.
Probably so. So then Robert E. Howard probably would have been dead. Yeah, he died in June of 36. So then his father could still sell the leftover stories out of the trunk. And if I recall correctly, Otis Adelbert Klein helped with that.
So Robert E. Howard had a big trunk of unfinished stories and
finished stories.
And the father sold them.
Farnsworth Wright was such a picky and yet he was a picky editor, but a little bit mercurial. What's another word for that? Like you could send him the story. Finicky. He would reject the story the first time he saw it, and 6 months later you send it back to him with no changes, and he likes it better. And
it's just moody. Just whatever he ate for breakfast determines whether he likes the story. Sounds like.
So that's the Weird Tales. I don't think I've got more Weird Tales to show.
Okay.
So now let's get into some science fiction. I have to do a big job of putting these all back together at home. And I'm probably going to get rid of some of these cruddier plastics. This is a Mylar, so this is considered good.
Mm-hmm.
I think I bought these from Jason Cohen
Oh.
at Curiosities.
Yeah, I haven't been to Curiosities in a
This
long
would have been
time.
about 7 or 8 years ago.
That's a shop in Dallas that an old friend of ours runs.
I just love all the gadgetry.
You should have told Rodney or Jason that you were going to be on tonight. Maybe they could have called in.
Well, I know Rodney's real busy.
Oh, she's got like electrodes
yeah.
attached to her. Is she dancing or just being forced to writhe around?
I think she's going to be put into one of these bubbles.
Oh man, there's so much going on. I don't know where to focus.
Yeah.
Okay, so the audience, is it all? Yeah, there's robots, but in the audience, it's like a bunch of women or slaves.
They're on their knees.
They're on their knees. Boy, I'd love to read this story, man. And then there's Joe Biden. And, yeah. And it's Joe Biden and AOC.
It's Henry Kuttner, who's, you know, a big name in science fiction and fantasy. You can probably
The time trap.
find that. This might be public domain. And then we have this one, which has these gorillas chasing after the hero, who's about to shoot into the mega brain.
Man, if you could make posters out of these at a copy shop, that would be so great to frame these. Especially that last one.
The perspective's way off here, or that's a tiny little automobile.
But you can get, these are all online. You can find pictures of all these, I'm sure. For the internet, someone must have photographed these.
All right, so I don't know what you want to do about this.
If you don't want to take them out of the Mylar, you don't have to. It's going to create a big headache for you to put them all back in.
This one's a rather tight squeeze, so
Then don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Because you might catch. No, don't do it.
and it's not as
You'll be all right.
interesting of a tile. Like,
We'll just get it with the light.
Yeah.
We can avoid the reflection.
and this is a case where you can see I probably got 20% off of $90.
Uh-huh.
That's what I paid for this. And I've
Yeah,
seen
that's a good deal.
higher asking price on eBay, but it's not selling at a higher asking price.
Yeah, what you have to do is look at completed sales.
Oh, yeah, I
'cause
do. But you know, somebody would think they can ask $300 for that, and that's fine. But I don't know who's paying $300 for that.
Not. I think as the prices of everything go up and the gas prices, it's going to be harder to sell old collectibles.
But
Arc
the
of
flip
space.
side of that, it's a hard asset and a collectible. So
If I was Elon Musk, I'd build that instead of that stupid penis spaceship he's got. Oh, I love they're keeping all the people back
yeah.
with bayonets from getting on the spaceship.
And then this is a reprint of A Martian Odyssey, which is a very famous science fiction story. I think it may be the first science fiction story where the alien is a good guy.
Really?
Yeah. Tweel. Now, there might be bad aliens in it as well.
Well, there's a good guy in Edgar Rice Burroughs' Martian Stories. You know, Tars Tarkus.
Yeah. You're probably right. Then.
I don't know. What do I know?
No, I think you're probably right. That, but maybe it was a certain way that this story was written.
This is how they should build architecture with this new infrastructure plan. They should build everything to look like this. They're going to be spending trillions of dollars, those idiots.
I don't know much about thrilling wonder stories. I just have a few issues.
It's a famous, yeah. it's just amazing.
And speaking of amazing, I didn't bring any amazings.
Yeah. Well, there's always next couple. I'm sure we could do this a bunch of times with your books. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just a bunch of eyes. Huh?
Have you read this? At the Mountains of Madness?
Years, like probably in the early 80s.
It's worthwhile.
Is that the way it's described?
Yeah, they did a good job of illustrating it. It's reasonably portrayed.
What is that have writing on the words?
It's got some sort of store stamp
on
on there.
It is a store stamp.
But it's kind of double.
Yeah.
It's kind of smudged. Let's see what's on the back. Nope.
Camel cigarette set.
So I hope to upgrade condition on this one someday, but it's a placeholder.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of at a stopping point where I don't really add much to the collection.
Yeah.
Unless stuff comes my way. First issue. And it's good to have the Pulp appearance of the Moon Pool because I understand that he rewrote it and expanded it, and it's not as concise.
Is that anti-Semitic?
Could be. Yeah.
You don't see stuff like that on magazine covers anymore.
This might be anti-witch, for all we know.
Well, more than likely.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And what are the Wimpuses going to do?
All complete. I guess instead of being serialized, this would be
Well, they were a reprint house. So that's not considered usually as collectible.
Okay, so that is...
This is a scarce one.
He's lighting the fuse. This guy. Well, he looks mad. He's crazy. So that's going to be burning her all down the way until... In fact, wouldn't the fuse like set her on fire before it blows her up? Oh, and it ultimately goes to... Where's the explosive?
It may not even be an explosive, but it may just be a torture scene.
Oh, maybe it's supposed to burn her.
There's a Buddha right there.
Oh, boy.
And he's chained to the chair and has to try and slice the fuse without cutting her, I guess is the idea.
Oh, he's like a Doc Savage looking guy.
Yeah, they did put some heroes in the covers. I don't know if I showed you this one in our last segment, because I just kind of want to speed through some things. Dime Mystery Magazine.
Oh, I don't think you did.
Girl for the Torture God. So these names, Blasingame, Zagat, Ernst, Burks, they published a lot of Weird Menace pulp fiction for different magazines.
When did they start being called Weird Menace pulps? Was it during that time?
I think it was. I'm not so sure.
And were they called pulps when they were being published?
Yeah,
or did that come later?
I think that they were called pulps then, at the time. Okay, here's another one. Actually, I don't know that we went through this one.
No, we didn't see this one either.
Here we are.
This guy's been turned into a lizard.
A snake.
A snake.
You like how the injection has 2 needles in the syringe there.
Yeah. And then there's probably a booster shot, too. And then, so they're about to turn her into a snake person, huh?
Yeah. And she's, instead of wearing red, she's wearing yellow. Now, speaking of red...
Wait, what do you mean? Because all the other girls wear red on these covers?
Usually.
I've never thought of that.
It catches the eye on the newsstand. It's like treating people like birds. So the women usually had a red dress on.
How did we not show these in the last segment?
This is not on the pulp. This is on the Mylar.
Yeah, oh yeah, we know that. Let's see. So they're...
It could be a head transplant scene.
Well, could be. Or are they just transferring his... Well, it wouldn't be that interesting to transfer his blood into her.
Like I said,
why wouldn't you transfer heads? That's Fauci there, I think. It looks just like him.
It does. All right, here's another one that influenced George Orwell, I think.
Okay.
Because there's a scene in 1984 where there's a cage that goes over Winston's face. It has these rats. So here, on this side, you have a candle that's burning down the string that's going to release the rats, and the bad guy has a stopwatch to see when it's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And then there's a hero.
Well, you know, it could have influenced Orwell, or it just that Orwell... Yeah. Or it could be that that's a torture that's actually used by this, different Secret Service.
Yeah.
Because Orwell was tied in with all that.
Yeah, and I don't know that he was
Kinda
reading
like-
Dime Mystery Magazine. I just don't know.
Well, yeah, he and Ian Fleming were actually in the Secret Service and were aware of all the weird shit that goes on in real life. Okay, yeah, this one is another great one. Test Tube Frankenstein.
So if you bid on these on eBay and it's a mad scientist, it's usually cheaper than, for example, outright torture scene.
Really?
These
Why?
are-
Well, to me, they're just as fascinating, the mad scientist ones.
Well, people want the extremes. And you're so right about how this was directly an influence on those men's magazines with the Nazis on the
Oh,
covers.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What does that say on her?
There's
Is that just
an ink smudge.
But nowadays, that looks like the tattoos a lot of women get.
Yeah, this is before women
Were
had many
Yeah.
tattoos.
Yeah. But now it's so cool.
Well, I like some of them.
Well, when they write right under their boob like that, some words, it's kind of, I don't want to insult the audience.
Well, I guess it just depends on each individual tattoo, if it's a good tattoo
Yeah.
or not.
Yeah, they tattoo post no bills on yourself. Let's see. History's Gallery of Monsters. Okay, so he's trying to get her free. And well-positioned smoke. And what is he trying to do? Burn her with a torch, I guess?
It looks like he's coming down on him with the torch, to me.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like she may already be on fire there.
What?
You know, with the smoke.
Yeah, she's not. Oh, wow.
Another.
Chesterfield wins.
So here's well, let me set this light down. So even though they're not calling this a first issue, let's see what it says on the title page it says Volume 3, Number 3, October 1933, but it in fact is the first Weird Menace pulp, because before Dime Mystery was more of a straight-ahead mystery magazine, and then the Weird Menace formula was introduced with this issue.
Mm.
And finally, in the 1940s, they started charging 15 cents for Dime Mystery magazine.
And that's, yeah, that's
So she's being forced to cut him down into the vat of acid.
This is the label that I thought was Fiction House.
Yeah, popular publication.
Maybe I don't know, something's telling me that maybe that grows into Fiction House, but I could be wrong. Yeah, so he's already being eaten by piranha, I guess. Blood from his foot.
Okay, and then instead of acids.
Oh, it could be acid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's acid.
So this is one that I bought on eBay, and some of your people were asking about prices. I paid $317 for that because it's in nice condition.
Yeah, it is.
In fact, I'm going to set that one aside so I don't get it mixed up. I don't normally pay that much for them when I get them, but sometimes you just got to make a move.
Yeah, of course.
This
This is a British edition.
Yeah, nice condition, and it's probably reprints from the American. I would assume.
Yeah. Oh, they're putting a mask on her.
Or this whole
Or
hood.
helmet
and they're going
hood.
to hang her up in there.
Oh, those are. Yeah, it looks like this guy on YouTube wears a mask like that.
Let me
He
flip
does
it over.
Reviews of movies.
It's just got, I guess, some receipt in there.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave that, some sort of receipt. So now, Horror Stories, number 1.
Did we see this?
Yeah, in the previous
Okay.
segment.
Okay.
So this is a sticker on the Mylar.
Right. Joe Biden again with one of his assistants. Men Without Blood.
So I love it that it has bats on the cover.
Oh yeah, the bat.
And the green flame there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Somebody took a pencil to it. Give it a squiggle.
But still, these things
See,
have
she's
survived almost
wearing
100
red.
years, so you can't really What does it say up there?
Hold first issue scarce 15. So.
Oh, it was on hold for someone.
I guess. Yeah.
So that was probably done in like the mid '60s. That's funny. When they write on the actual book like that.
All right, so here we go with the lame-ass Weird Tales cover.
It's a very beautiful cover as far as colors, though. But what's the next amazing stuff in radio after television? Well, you know, it may not have girls on it, but it's cool in the sense that.
Oh, look, here's Out of the Eons, page 478. This is the one I mentioned about one of the best Cthulhu Mythos stories. Next page.
Oh, look at that. So that's what he's seeing.
Yeah.
It's horrible imagery.
It's the eye. It's the reflection on the eyeball in the story. But I don't want to give too much away because I think people should read it.
Look at those tubes there.
The vacuum tubes?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't have a girl, but it's still a really gorgeous cover.
Sometimes the readers would complain that the covers were too sexy, if you can imagine.
Yeah.
And so the editor, Farnsworth Wright, would play around and try and, reach a middle ground on these things. Strange stories. Not easy to find these. These must have had lower print runs.
Oh, there's severed head. That's a severed head on a stake that he's holding. So he's a bad guy, and then that's another bad guy, and then she's some kind of priestess or something.
No, she's being menaced by. She's probably going to be sacrificed.
Oh, that's why they dressed her up that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is in rough shape. See?
Yeah.
So I'm going to set this aside.
Okay.
Down. And we're getting close to the end here.
All right. Well, I sure appreciate you bringing all these over.
Well, I just love this stuff so much.
Well, I'm sure you're going to get a lot of great comments on this video, and everyone was loving seeing them.
The cover looks faded on this one. Something's faded about it.
Well.
So then, spicy detective, there was spicy mystery, spicy western, spicy adventure, and they're all really expensive.
I think this was the way it was printed. It looks almost like it's out of focus a little bit. Like this guy, it's like it's hard to focus on him because I don't think he is in focus. I think the printing is a little blurry on him.
Maybe that's it. So then in the 40s, they changed it to speed detective.
Oh, okay.
Which, of course, I guess would be its own problem now.
Yeah.
And I don't think we showed this one in the other video.
Oh.
Because it's not one I typically get into. Thrill. I don't so much go for regular detective.
Yeah, but it's got a bat.
Yeah,
bats.
that's right.
So that looks more like a monkey head on it, but.
So a little automatic pistol, like the kind you could buy in the advertisements inside.
77 miles, 1 gallon of gas. Will your car do it? Oh, there's the ad, and it's funny that the ad never changed except the I'm sorry, focus. Her swimsuit changes, and the kid's hairstyle is parted in the middle, but they only changed the swimsuits, but other than that, this ad stayed the same right through the 1970s. Yeah, you can tell. What year is this? Early 30s?
It says 32.
Yeah, this is so cool to see this original ad. It was just so successful.
And then the only author of note here is Arthur J. Burks. I've never heard of any of these other guys, and I I know some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm focused on the ad, and you're talking about the authors. Wow, that is so cool to see. Yeah, because Charles Atlas ran these ads for generations.
Alongside the Rosicrucians.
Yeah. Murder Hotel.
Yeah, so this is the problem with playing with pulps.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah. So you only do this ever so often.
Well, but they're being preserved where people in Afghanistan can watch this. You know, all over the world, people could potentially watch this if they have access to YouTube. So
there are reprints of this Magic Carpet and Orional Stories, but they're probably out of print.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, excuse me. Are we seeing a nipple, or is that supposed to be a shadow? It really looks like a giant nipple.
Yeah. Sometimes they can get away with it.
Or is it hair? No, that's just a tiny... I don't know. I shouldn't be focusing on it. That's very prurient. Yeah.
I don't see what the big deal is. We're all
Why
mammals.
do they all want to leave? Why do they want to get on the plane and leave? It looks pretty good over there. It's just Joe Biden, let us stay, man.
Let's see what else we got here. Here's Orional Stories #1.
Oh yeah. This is a cover I thought
I
was really fascinated with this cover. Fascinating Tales of the East.
So they really tried to make a go of it with Orional Stories, but it was just too niche.
Well, they don't have a girl on the cover being menaced.
Well, they did on some of the issues.
Yeah.
And then Brundage started off working with them. So let's see here. A lot of stories.
Yeah. These are telling you what you should read if you enjoyed the issue. Like, these are other stories you could read.
Oh, no, I think that's the next issue.
Oh, yeah, sure. On sale November 15th. Wow.
Well, let's see who the author... one of the authors here... Oh, I just flipped past it again. What does it say here? Oh, something separated just then. Hung Long Tom was really the pseudonym for Farnsworth Wright, who had the magazine with some of his own writing.
Oh boy, that's crazy.
As a pseudonym.
Yeah.
And then let's get a... we didn't look at this other one. It's another Yellow Peril. Unknown #1. Unknown was known for having high literary quality. And here he's got The World in His Grip. March 1939. Now, because of the World War II paper shortages, Unknown only had like 17, 19, some small number of issues.
His pinky finger's pointing right to where we're at.
That's true.
Oh, and the world's in ruins, I see.
Kind of a plain masthead here, but these are some good authors in here.
It's wild that the kids reading this 2 years later would get swept up in World War II.
Well, not just, what World War II started in September of 39.
I'm thinking of the U.S. involvement. I'm just thinking, yeah, the war started a lot earlier. I'm just saying our involvement.
The way of thinking about it is the Japanese invasion, I think, of Manchuria. It's kind of the start of World War II, but it wasn't a world war at that point.
Well, that's why you had all these magazines with Asian villains, is because of what was going on over there.
Well, and the immigration at the time was a big concern.
Strange Tales. Mystery and Terror. Clayton Magazine.
I wish I had more of these, but I just have 2.
Well, what's it say? The author's names.
Ray Cummings.
So some guy's about to shoot an arrow.
And he's transforming from a cobra.
Yeah, I bet it's called The Place of the Pythons by Arthur J. Burke. So I wonder if some of these stories are just available on the internet.
Probably so.
And some pulp fiction is just on YouTube and like audiobooks. I mean, where you can just listen to it, people reading it while you're going.
A robot reading it or a person?
Well, hopefully not robots. But that might be if something's public domain, that sounds like something that someone could do, is make audiobooks of pulp stories.
I'm sure it's happening right now.
I should do that.
Here's my worst condition one.
Yeah, but it's still acceptable. It's not. it's still together. It's still all there.
So this is a Hugh B. Cave story. I think it was a vampire story taking place on a ship.
Okay.
He wrote a lot of vampire stories, a lot of weird fiction, and yet his most popular book during his lifetime is called Haiti: High Road to Adventure, which I'm selling on eBay with my username Penta Radial.
Oh, finally we get to the real reason behind the broadcast.
Well, I'm not selling
It's
pulps
an
there.
infomercial. So yeah, what was the name of your YouTube handle again?
Not YouTube, eBay.
I'm sorry, eBay.
Penta Radial, Pentaradial.
And so what we didn't mention is, do you want to mention that you've got a bookstore?
Yeah, I got Rosedale Rare Books with my partner, Renda Curran, but it's mostly old leather-bound history and high spots of literature.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much fun as these pulps, but
Yeah.
great stuff. Because my specialty at the bookstore is the books published before 1830, and so I have a whole expertise in that as well. And then Renda is just a super smart book person who knows everything, and so we do a good job of it.
So if pulps came by, you would take them, and they would never be on the store floor. But
Right. I have one issue of Weird Tales at my store, Rosedale Rare Books, because it's a duplicate.
and it's in Dallas.
Well, yeah, near SMU campus.
Is it on Rosedale Street?
Yeah, in University Park.
That's not the same Rosedale that goes through Fort Worth.
No,
Like
different.
it's just like every city has the same name streets. You know.
Yeah, so I think that's it. I don't
Whoa.
know that I have any more.
Well, that's incredible.
And I do enjoy showing them because it's part of the fun is sharing the
Yeah.
love, and you've been doing that so well with your channel and all the things that you've got. So
Well, thank you. How much have you watched of my show?
I probably watched 8 of them.
Okay.
Yeah, and if it's a 3-hour one, I don't necessarily watch it to the end. But if I had to put a number on it, I'd say I'd watched about 8 of them.
What I want to do some night is have a live stream where a bunch of people come on, and maybe I'll do that this weekend and talk about the coolest YouTube channels that we should subscribe to. And then someone says, I like this channel, and then I can go to that channel, show a little bit of it, and then we could all subscribe to that. And then someone else will say, well, maybe you guys don't know about this channel, and they show old toy commercials from the 60s, and this channel has all these old movies, and this channel has great political commentary that's really funny, and maybe that was something I like. Or maybe there's some good channels about pulps, huh? Have you found pulp?
I've not seen something quite like you and I have done with this, but there are lots of little histories of the pulp years.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that show off their comic books. So, but pulp collecting is a little bit more of a niche because it's harder to.
There's fewer of them out there. They haven't caught on in the popular imagination the way that comic book heroes have.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of get something that's scarcer, older and scarcer, and costs less than a Golden Age comic book.
The only thing that's always intimidated me, I just thought I could never really collect those or Golden Age comics just because of the price, and then I would be intimidated by trying to keep them nice, and I never see them. At conventions, they're not really there. Most of my life, what I collected tended to be what was there. It was like when I went into a store, if I found some, and then some things I never saw, so I never collected them. But then once eBay came along, then you can expand to just about anything.
Well, but then, nobody's buying Action Comics #1.
Well, yeah, but, I always thought, when I was younger, that I always saw these older guys that were in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and they were the pulp guys and the Golden Age guys.
Yeah.
Because they had them from when they were kids. And I thought, I'd never be able to collect that. That's like an older guy's game.
And now we're those older guys.
Yeah, and these people that are collecting comics now probably think the same thing about comics from the Bronze Age, the early 70s. Although, you think about it, these comics in the early 70s are the same amount of, they're as old as the pulps were when I was in my 20s and was intimidated by them, but it just seemed like, I don't know, they weren't as fragile. I guess because they weren't printed on paper as cheap as the pulps were.
Yeah, these pulps are meant to last 1 month. 1 month or one season.
Just by their very name, pulp, it implies that they were not meant to last. And comics have a longer life, potential life capacity, I guess.
But they also weren't, typically saved.
No.
If somebody makes something that's considered like an instant collectible, then it's probably not going to be valuable for the future.
Right. Notice none of these pulps said collectors. They didn't really do that thing. Collector's item on the cover, first issue.
They do the first issue.
They say collector's item?
No, they didn't say that. They'd say first issue, but here they say 16th year of publication.
Uh-huh.
So they would brag on other things.
Right.
That's the color photocopy.
Right.
Oh, a funny story about when I walked in to the photocopy place. I hadn't shaved in a week or more, and I looked very scruffy, and I walked in with these 2 boxes of pulps, and the lady just said, "No thanks, we don't want any." It's like, no, I'm here to photocopy. All these pulps had thousands of dollars worth of pulps, and I looked like a bum.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't
that's
mind.
funny.
It was funny. She didn't insult me. She just didn't recognize me because I'd been in that place before, looking less scruffy.
Yeah, nobody really keeps up their, last couple of years, since everyone's had to wear a mask, no one bothers to shave. It's or put on lipstick.
Yeah, I shave about twice a week, and I don't ever put on lipstick.
No, well, I'm just talking about in general. I'm just wondering how the lipstick industry is faring the last couple of years.
I know somebody who had to quit her job because it wasn't, she couldn't do those in-person demonstrations for the cosmetic industry.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's terrible.
All right, well, gosh, I think that's everything I brought.
All right, well, I appreciate you coming in, and so...
Thank you, Gratu.
All right, thank you, Forrest Jackson, and we'll be back, I don't know, maybe Friday night, Thursday, tomorrow. Today is Thursday.
Thursday.
Maybe tomorrow we'll be back with something, or Saturday. Take care, guys.